I love walking along Southend Beach here on the Limestone Coast. Sand and sea as far as the eye can perceive, but surfers would be spoiled for choice, except as I walked a few kilometres of it, I realised only certain spots had the right conditions to really experience all the joy that the ocean has to offer here. Most spots were completely flat, great for kids to splash around in or skimboard to slide around on, but every now and then the swell and the sand created this convergence point where the perfect wave formed. And this is what it's like to experience the presence of God. He is everywhere and in everything, just like sand. And yes, that was a Star Wars reference for those of you that hear. But there are some places where the conditions are just right to experience that perfect wave of His presence. Who's heard of the term parallel play? So often, this is God's experience with us, but how He longs for intentional time and presence with each one of us as well. My wife and I spend a lot of time existing in the same space, and I know that sometimes she gets frustrated if I don't stop and attend to the same moment that she does. I'm not fully present to the temporary thing that she wanted me to notice. There can be a hurt that I can unintentionally inflict because that moment doesn't come around again. Mature relationships won't remain in that offence for long, but constantly missing those moments can be suffocating and rob us of intimacy. Now, the Holy Spirit doesn't get offended or hurt, but the invitation to stop and become fully present to each other is always available and awaiting the intentionality of our full attention. Without our full attention, intimacy becomes familiarity. And familiarity can breed disconnect and discontentment in a relationship with the Holy Spirit or with your wife. And what was once was sheer delight just becomes obligation or indifference. So return to your first love with your wife and with Jesus. Remember intentional presence. You need to stop and acknowledge each other's presence every now and then. More frequently than not shows intimacy and desire. It doesn't always need to be words either. My wife would probably agree that our feelings of love and affection are the fullest when in fact the other's not saying anything at all. And I think Ronan Keating would also definitely agree. Where can you make time today to stop and become aware and look for that perfect wave of God's presence in your life? The invitation is always there to move beyond parallel play and find intentional presence, to find those places, those moments and internal conditions where we can experience that perfect wave. It doesn't have to be complicated. Just stop, attend, acknowledge Him. Where can you practice that presence today, even for a moment? How can you start cultivating those conditions to experience more of the God who is already always right here? Dive in today and experience God for yourself. You won't be disappointed.